Suzanne Springfield with Remax True, and I'm here today at Crazy Love Coffee House in downtown Roswell off Canton Street, and I wanted to give them a special shout out and thank you for letting us come by and enjoy their wonderful coffee this morning. And I'm here with my friend Amy Buynoski from Center State Bank. How are you, Amy?
I'm good. It is so good to see you in person.
I know, it's great. I'm so happy that everything is finally opening back up and we can be out and about today.
Me too. And who would have thought the housing market would be as busy as it is today when people have been quarantined for weeks?
I know, right? I've noticed that too. I've got a lot of emails and phone calls really kind of this whole time, but lately I have seen such an upswing. I think people who have been home just looking around think, maybe I need a little bit more, or maybe I'm ready to own my own space. And I've just seen the market really picking up, and it's so exciting, and it speaks to just the confidence, I think, of the market. And with rates still pretty low, I mean, I think it's still a great time to buy, and it's exciting.
It is, and buyers that we pre-qualified 6 months ago because of interest rates being so low are able to qualify for a larger home at a slightly higher price point because the rates are so much lower than where they were 6 months ago.
That's so awesome.
It is, and you know, values haven't decreased either. So refis and people buying homes, they haven't been impacted at all.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. And first-time home buyers too. I know you mentioned a grant. I mean, there are grants out there, right? Even that your bank can help people find to help with down payment assistance.
There's still grants available for them. There's 100% financing programs. So the programs definitely haven't changed. I think in the beginning people were nervous.
Yeah.
Because you know, of the changes in the unknown.
Yeah.
But I think it was exactly that, the unknown. And fortunately, we're coming out of it and things are good.
Which is great. I know, it's so exciting. The unknown, I know, can be scary, but unfortunately it was the unknown and scary for health reasons, but fortunately for our industry, not because of bank reasons, because the banks are still strong, the market is still strong, and I've seen a lot of the new construction builders really picking back up on their inventory right where they left off, and it's just a buzz around town, and it's so exciting to see.
There was an article that home builders had about the inventory picking up and specs, and you know, we're going to be right on track for where they projected, which is really exciting.
It is exciting, and I think that the people who were thinking that the values might go down, I almost hate to say it, but I think that the home prices might even go up a little bit because of this.
Demand.
I know, it's supply and demand.
So have you had people call you that are looking for homes, and have you seen again that you're placing an offer and it's highest and best and the homes are going quickly because lack of inventory?
Absolutely, I really have. I had one of my clients, we listed her place in Sugar Hill, Georgia not too long ago, and we did a really nice virtual tour of her home thinking, well, everybody can look from their house, they don't have to come out. And in the first 24 hours after her listing went live, we had 15 appointments. People were lined up down her street. Her neighbors were out in tents just watching it like a circus. Yeah, it was the craziest thing. And because she was in a cul-de-sac, so they all were waiting in this big line. But it was amazing because we did highest and best offers. We had 5 contracts to review, and she was able to get a contract over list price.
That's awesome.
During quarantine. I mean, it's great. I haven't slowed down at all. If anything, it's just been picking back up.
It's busier than it was this time last year, in my opinion.
Yeah. Are people still refinancing a lot now?
They are. I mean, it's a great time to take advantage of the low rates. So between purchases and refinances, it's really busy. Yeah. Have you seen any changes with the contract?
Not a lot. I mean, we have put in some builders, and even the Georgia Real Estate Board, we have put in some COVID stipulations just as a protection for buyers and for sellers, that if anyone is fearful or scared, just understanding that we're still taking precautions to keep people healthy, but it's not going to stop the process. So the people that are worried about, well, I want to buy a home, but what if last minute somebody changes their mind and I don't get to close, or I'm charged a per diem, or just the what ifs, it's just there to protect, to give everybody that confidence and that peace of mind. But other than that, we're still using the same Georgia GAR contracts for our resale, and they're still moving. Really? I mean, homes are still selling.
They are, and we've changed that a little bit with our process with COVID, is that we have to continually check employment to make sure somebody hasn't been furloughed, and if they have, how long, and if they're back to work before they make their first payment, we're okay. So that's probably been a change for us during the loan process, is making sure that they're still employed, what their income is, and also that they're still making their mortgage payments and they're not in the middle of a forbearance, because that's been a little questionable without having clear direction on how to handle that. But aside from that, there's been no major changes for us as far as the loan process goes when somebody's under contract.
Which is great. I've been advising my clients too, if they do get statements from their car loan company or their current mortgage holder that say it's okay if you don't make a payment, it's not going to affect your credit score, I am still telling people, if you can, make your payment, because even though it might not lower your credit score immediately, the underwriters can still see it, and they still are going to wonder, why did you not make your payment? What's wrong? What's going on? And it is a red flag. So as much as we don't want to be insensitive, I'm still advising people to pay everything on time and to be conservative. Is that in line with what you see?
I mean, that's definitely, something that buyers need to be mindful of, is still making their payments, because unless they've had a significant change in their income, an underwriter is going to question, why did you put your mortgage in forbearance if you're still gainfully employed with no change to your income?
That's
so
right.
I appreciate you sharing that, because it is, a big misconception. You can do it, but it's not going to benefit you in the long run. It's 12 months later if you try to purchase or refinance.
Yeah, they might still see it, and it still might be a red flag. I think one of the other challenges that I've had too is just, you spoke to verifying employment, which is obviously important because the banks want to make sure that you still have a job if they're going to loan you all that money, right? It's just being able to verify employment when some of the offices are still closed.
Oh, we had to get creative with that.
We had to get creative. So what are you guys doing with that?
It all depends. Sometimes we can get an email address to a manager or a cell phone number. So we're just trying everything we can to get some sort of verification that they're still employed and that income hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Because sometimes buyers don't think about it. Well, I have a 10% pay cut for 60 days. It could potentially impact your qualifications on the loan.
Sure.
So we're really having to do a lot of checks and balances with that, and I don't think buyers understand it when we're like, help us, we have to have this.
Yeah.
But it's just something that we have to have in order for the loan to be sellable to the agencies.
Right, because you check the information at first when you're qualifying them, right?
We do.
But then you want to double check some of the
end.
Yeah, some of the items at the very end, just to make sure that nothing has changed, right?
Yes.
Just to make sure that all the boxes are still checked and everybody's good to go for closing, right?
It's that you go through the loan process and sometimes buyers are like, oh my God, this is so hard. But if they could just follow the checklist we give in the very beginning, it will be a very smooth process. It's just when they want to start saying, you don't need that bank statement. We're like, no, we do.
Yeah, exactly.
But, knock on wood, we haven't missed any closes because of COVID or employment verifications. So we've still been able to keep our closing deadlines and still able to even offer a 3-week close.
That's amazing. A 3-week close, that's great. And it helps keep people organized too if you have to go through your documents and you have to find things. It's always good to keep your financial house in order too. So while everybody's home, it's a good thing to, like it or not, get yourself organized. But I think that's great. And I think that, let me know what you think. If anything, this has also taught us to be more flexible and to really be, I think more people are going to be able to work from home. I don't know if we're all going to have to go face-to-face into meetings a lot anymore with the Zoom being so popular and the virtual meetings. I think it'll be interesting to see how that translates into day-to-day life when everything does just kind of resume back to normal.
I think, when we go through the changes in the industry, we always learn something or improve something. So I think from this, like for your industry, being able to do more virtual tours of the home, I think is so wonderful for people when they're home at 11 o'clock or 6 a.m. and they want to look at a house, they can see that.
Yes.
So I think that's really been good for our industry, is trying to tap more into technology and the tools that are available. Mm-hmm. I do hope the kids go back to school, because I am a total failure at homeschooling.
I'm not a homeschool mother, no.
So that is the one thing that I hope does not stay the same, that they go back to school, because I love my teachers and have so much more appreciation for them.
I know. And it's also just the day-to-day of trying to work, from home, and also be the teacher and the personal chef and the housekeeper and everything else. It's a lot, so it'll be exciting when
everything's back to normal. Would you agree your boys are harder than your clients?
A lot of the time, yes. Unless I allow them to have electronics, and then it gets a little bit easier.
Or a snack.
Yeah, exactly. But then they snack me out of house and home, and I need to sell more houses just to be able to
keep the cafeteria
open.
Keep
the cafeteria open. Exactly. That's exactly right. I know it. Well, in terms of what you're seeing in terms of people buying homes, are you seeing a lot of first-time home buyers? Are you seeing downsizers? I mean, is it kind of all over the place? What do you see?
All over the place. We're seeing a lot of first-time home buyers. I think we've seen, first-time home buyers that thought maybe it was a good idea to live in the city or stay in apartments. Now we're like, I want my own house.
Yeah.
So we have seen an increase in that. We have some move-up buyers, and then we have a lot of older buyers that are moving into 55 plus communities downsizing. Mm-hmm. So it's been a good mix of different types of buyers.
That's nice. And sometimes I find that on the 55 and older buyers, they're so nice and they are lovely, but that's a challenging group sometimes as well, because they have owned possibly their current home for so many years that they almost are like first-time home buyers in a way, because you have to familiarize them with why you need all this information and costs of homes now for me versus 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. Because even though a home might be smaller,
you have all these costs associated with it.
Price might not be less, yeah.
I think anybody that hasn't bought a home in the last couple of years, 5 years, are completely in for a surprise. Mm-hmm. We hear a lot, I didn't have to provide that documentation. That's a lot. So I think if you haven't bought in a couple of years, it is like being a first-time home buyer, because it changes so much, the industry and the requirements that we have to follow. So I do think it's always changing industry for those.
Yeah.
Even if they went through it 2 years ago, they forget. They forget the process.
Or they block it out. But either way, yes. Exactly.
Know.
I know. I see a lot of that too.
You just have to remind them and guide them, and
Yes. Now, are most of your coworkers back in the office? Do you still have people working from home? I know at my Remax True office, we reopened everything this week, so it's been nice for us to be back in the office and in and out and seeing familiar faces in person. Are you guys back open yet?
So our team is back in the office, and we're all working together. I think the corporate office is going to be opening here in the next week or two, but we're all back together in the same office.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you think that when people reach out to you, I know sometimes I think that people are just more comfortable with a phone call just to get the warm and fuzzies before they share all their personal information, but I know sometimes from a phone call it's hard to get all the information that you need to really quote real numbers. For the people that want to reach out, what do you think is the best route, whether you guys are in the office or working from home, to kind of get the process started? What's the best way do you suggest for people is it to go online and fill out the online application before they call, or?
I typically like to talk to somebody first, just so I know. So they honestly, because of our world, everything's done through email so much, or phone or text. It's nice to have that initial conversation.
Yeah.
And then you can find out what their goals are, what they want to spend per month on a payment. So it's nice to have that initial conversation before you start sending all these requests and it becomes impersonal.
Yeah.
I'm still very old school and I like to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Texting is more of a millennial thing.
Yeah.
So I like, the conversations and the emails, but I think that's important to have that type of relationship. And unlike you, where you're able to meet with a client and get to know them face to face and show them homes, most times loan officers don't have that. So it is nice to have that phone call and, make that connection.
And I know I always appreciate you taking good care of my clients, because they do like to have somebody to talk to if they feel nervous or they have questions, to feel that they have somebody that they can trust on the other line. The other end of the line is always great. So.
Well, you know, it's an overwhelming process, and it's nice when you and I can work together with a buyer and guide them through it, because it is so overwhelming. And even if it's their second house or third house, it's still a process, and there's still things that, you know, they need our help with and our guidance on.
Yeah, and that's why we're here. Well, it was so great to see you today. I really appreciate you having coffee with me this morning, and a big thanks again to Crazy Love Coffee House on Canton Street in downtown Roswell. Thanks again, and we hope to see you guys soon. Come and check out this coffee. It's fantastic. Bye.